Morning. It's morning where I'm at. I just want to get on here really quick and just tell you what happened last night. My sister and I went and visited my parents this weekend in Arizona. It was great. We like went out there. It's fun to be with them, to just reconnect, let them know what's going on, hang out, eat some good food. So we're on our way back last night. It was actually pretty late. We ended up having a late start. And when we got to the California-Arizona border, there's like a checkpoint on your way from Arizona into California. Everybody slows down. There's various entry points. And I went through because I was driving, and then my sister's boyfriend was next to me, and my sister was in the back of the car. And as I was driving through, I saw like there's various cars parked right to the left as you are exiting the gateway. And they all had their lights on. I thought that was really weird, and they're all facing towards us, and they're just like one right after another. So I turned and I rubbernecked and turned this way and looked, and just as I was looking at them, there was a fourth car that was parked various like maybe two and a half car lengths down. So its headlights caught my face as I was turning and looking at these cars. Like I really turned and looked, and immediately I was like, uh-oh. Like, that's got to be ICE, and they're definitely going to pull me over. And so then I continued to accelerate to be able to get past the semi that was pulling in from the right. And sure enough, that last truck pulled out, started to pull up and follow me behind me. And so as soon as I passed the semi on the right, I got into the right lane, and the truck stayed behind me, but he stayed in the left lane. And he was about just another 2 car lengths behind me. So exactly right in my side mirror, I could watch him. He was just following me right on my tail. My sister's car has that cruise control that automatically accelerates and decelerates. Like it'll decelerate when there's a car in front of you that's slower than the speed you're going. And in front of me, the semi I started to approach the semi in my lane. And the semi was going probably about 5 miles under the speed limit. And because he was right there, like it wasn't like I could have pulled out in front of him, but he was right in my side mirror. So I didn't really feel comfortable pulling out and going around the semi. And I wanted to see what he would do. So I just let the cruise control handle it, and it slowed down. I just stayed right behind the semi, and he kept pace. And this was for I would say a good 4 miles. He kept pace with me at that point. And there's one point where the semi had to go up. There was a little bit of a hill. It slowed down almost 10 miles below the speed limit. And he inched forward a little bit, and then it slowed back down to keep pace with us. And then at one point he got behind me because there was another car coming up behind him. So he let that car pass him. Well, when that happened, I just ended up getting behind that car because he was no longer in my way to move over to the left lane, and was able to go around the semi that I had been behind. And then the car that passed me and passed him moved over to the right lane, and I moved over after him. As soon as I did that, he moved behind me and turned his lights on. And so then pulled me over because I knew that was going to happen. So let's pull over, windows are up, everybody's got their seatbelts on. I put my phone down on the dash, started recording video because, of course, I'm not going to just, this isn't the first rodeo. This isn't the first time I've been pulled over. He comes to the passenger side where my sister's boyfriend's sitting, and so I roll down the window for him. And the first thing he asks is he's like, license and registration? None of the, do you know why I pulled you over? None of that stuff. It was just license and registration. And so I pulled out my license and passed it over. And then my sister's boyfriend, we didn't really know exactly where the registration was. And so he's there trying to look and find it. Actually, before he did that, he said, he's like, oh, can I get into the glove compartment? And the sheriff, that's what it said on his vest, said, oh yeah, it's fine. Coincidentally, my sister's boyfriend is Caucasian, so obviously he wasn't threatened by him. It took us several minutes to try to find the registration. Once we passed it over, we realized that it was the old registration, like from even 2 years ago, that we had in there. And he's like, "Oh, that's fine. It's not a big deal." But then he's like, "But I'm going to need you to step out of the car," he said to me, "and come over to the car with me." And I said, "Well, am I being detained?" And he told me that yes, I was being lawfully detained. And I asked, "Well, why am I being detained?" And his reasoning was because the tint on the windows was too deep, was too dark. Mind you, we're in California, the state that this car was purchased from a dealership, and have never been stopped for the tint on the car on this windows in California. It's very different laws in California. The tint laws are very different. And I mean, it was just like, okay, whatever, man. So then I grab my phone, still recording, get out of the car. I walk over to his car, and I get right in front in the corner of where his car is at. So he has his door open, he's in the car. So that way there's something between us, because I wasn't about to like make sure I could be within his reach or whatever. And then he's like, "No, come over here beside the door." And I'm just like, okay, fine. So I walk over, and I made sure there was a good 4 feet between us. So I was back a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to be within his arm's reach. I don't know what he's going to do. And so he's sitting there trying to make what sounded like was polite conversation with me, asking me, whose car was this? Where were we coming from? Where do you live? What's your job? And I was answering his questions, but also not necessarily giving away a ton of my private information. I was making sure my answers were concise. And plus he has my driver's license right there. Like, he has where my address is. He knows, like, he has my home address on my driver's license. He knows what state it's from. So, but he was also looking up the registration. I think also the other thing is, I had these earrings on. These are the earrings I was wearing when I stepped out of the car. My hair is long. I had on this outfit with baggy pants. And I'm pretty sure that as soon as I stepped out of the car, he could tell that I was from the United States, that I was obviously probably Native American. And so after those weird questions, I've never had a police officer try to make polite conversation with me when they've stopped me. It was really bizarre. It was so strange. It really felt like he was fishing for information. And I've been watching a lot of videos that say whenever you're detained or the police are talking to you, and you don't answer a lot of questions, you only answer what you have to. You're there trying to pull information out of you, so just be very careful with your answers, which I was. And if, for an example, he asked me what I did for work, and I said, whatever I can in this economy. And then he said, well, what is that? And I said, well, I'm a private contractor. I do gig work. I basically work until the job is complete. But because I was standing far away, kind of a little far, and then all the semis were going by, the next question, I totally couldn't hear him until I listened to a video later, and he asked, well, does that make good money? I never answered that question. And it was after that question, he said, okay, you're good to go. And he handed me back my license and the registration that we had. And then I got back in the car. So I just wanted to get on here to let, especially the Native Americans, know, please, carry around a good ID. The ID I have the current real ID from my state. In my wallet, I also have a passport card. And I'm pretty sure if that was the identification that I had pulled out at the very beginning of the stop, that would have stopped that interaction. So please be careful out there. Just remember that we have rights. Don't be scared to ask questions. I would make sure that my sister was also, I didn't realize this when this was happening, but she was also had her phone on record, and my my sister's boyfriend had also called my other sister at home so that she could know what was going on while this was happening. So just be smart. Make sure that you have your phone on. Make sure that, you know, if somebody's in the car, that they can call somebody to make so they know what's happening. It is even more important now for us to make sure that we are remembering that we have rights as citizens. You do not have to give out information you do not want to. He had my driver's license already. There was those questions he really didn't need to ask. So, I mean, I'm grateful that it was me and not my sister driving, because I definitely think I can handle myself better. It was very weird. It was one of the weirdest times I've ever been pulled over my whole life. And I don't think it's going to stop, and I think it's going to get weirder. So just please be careful out there. Let people know if you have the ability and if you have the means, you know, get a passport card, because that fits right in your wallet. It's just like your driver's license. Also, all you Native Americans, please, if you can't get that, carry around your tribal ID. Be aware of that, because, you know, I was so tempted to say something like, where were your people in the 1600s? Like, where were your ancestors, you know, before 1700? I want to know that, because he was asking me these weird questions. I didn't say that. I mean, like, I might next time if I can tell it's ice. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here, share that. It's still fresh in my mind. I was thinking about this morning when I came in. But yeah, thanks for listening to me. I hope you guys have a great day. I am still grateful that I'm here. I think that there's a lot I love about being in this country, despite the difficulties that we are experiencing, the differences we have. There's a lot of freedoms that we have here that I haven't seen that other countries don't have. And like, freedom of religion is something that we as Native Americans truly only have been able to enjoy since the 70s. And it is nice that we can enjoy that now. And it's something that hopefully can still stay and be respected. The right to be able to bear arms is an important right. We were the first stand your ground people here in the Americas. Just be aware of that. Stand your ground was not new. It was something we were doing, since the 1700s, 1800s. So, but yeah, thanks guys, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.